Hey vinyl community, welcome to the channel. The pretty green vinyl guy here, Edwin. And today I've got a vinyl update. My first one of 2020. I've got some new finds and some reissues and a couple of record store updates. Some that I wanted that weren't available for where I live. That was very confusing. Anyway, hope everyone's doing good. Happy New Year to everybody. We're off to another great year here. Lots of videos going on, lots of good vinyl finds. Get the bicycle thief hat sorted out. Yeah, so I got a vinyl update. I managed to pick up some Record Store Day albums from Black Friday that I wasn't able to get locally. One I got on eBay, and two I found in Vancouver on Boxing Day when I was over with my daughter. And I've got some new vinyl and some vinyl finds. So let's get started. One of the things I really wanted for Record Store Day was the Miles Davis Live in Tokyo. This was not available anywhere locally, but I did manage to walk into a shop in Vancouver. I'm going to keep it in the plastic because of the OB strip. And yeah, so super happy to find that. A lot of people were raving about this, so that was really good. The second thing I really wanted was the Fearless Flying Frog Brigade. This is Les Claypool from Primus, and actually the Lennon Claypool. What are they called? Delirium. And this was I didn't know anything about this, but I heard that they do Pink Floyd covers, and I heard some of them on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'm totally in. This is quite impressive, actually, the packaging. You can see the animals. So basically this is what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a three vinyl, triple vinyl set. They do the entire, from October 9th, 2000, the entire Pink Floyd Animals. And then I also saw Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Takes up the whole of side D on this one. And yeah, so Les Claypool's Fearless Flying Frog Brigade Set 1. That was a Record Store Good Friday release. Brilliant artwork. This was, I think it is on some kind of colored vinyl. So yeah, super stoked about that. And then the one I wanted that everybody got, except for me, but I did manage to find one on eBay, and it wasn't a bad price after all, and that was the Pearl Jam Unplugged from the MTV Unplugged series. And I gotta say, it was worth getting. It sounds really, really great. And this was recorded at the MTV studios pretty much after their initial tour for 10. So there's not a lot of, I think the whole album comes from 10 except for State of Love and Trust, which I think was from the singles soundtrack. So there you have it, Pearl Jam MTV, I got it. And then Boxing Day, like I know in the US everyone's going on about the 50% off at Barnes & Noble. Well, unfortunately that's not available in Canada. And but you know, New Year's, Boxing Day, there were some sales to be had, and there was a local shop that had 20% off of new vinyl. So I picked up a few things. One thing I was super happy to find was XTC's The Dukes of Stratosphere. This is 25 O'Clock. Now this is the XTC band doing their alternative project, which is basically sounds like 60s psych rock. And this is fantastic. I've heard a lot about this, and of course I've heard the songs off of downloads, but owning this, super cool. Very, very excited about this. I think there's another album too, so I'm going to be on the lookout for that. And yeah, it just sounds like some like legit British 60s psych. You think you bought this album in like 68 or 69 or something like that. So yeah, that's XTC's The Dukes of Stratosphere 25 o'clock, nicely packaged with the gatefold. You can see it's like they're the Yardbirds of the Small Faces or something in there. Very cool. And then this was something I'd wanted to pick up for a while. Of course, we know, sadly, last year we lost Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. This was their debut album, No Need to Argue. This had, you know, their first hits. What year did this come out? Dating myself, but 1994, No Need to Argue, was when Dolores and the Cranberries kicked off. This is a reissue on white vinyl, sort of a anniversary type thing. This, of course, had Zombie. What was the big? No Need to Argue. What was the other big song on here? Disappointment. I just remember overall it being a great album. Weird that this is sold as a gatefold, but it's only one record. That's kind of interesting. There you go. The Cranberries, No Need to Argue. Nicely packaged. And then I guess maybe it started with the Pearl Jam MTV Unplugged. I kind of went on this like mad grunge revival where I started just everything I was looking for had to be something from the grunge scene. And I kind of went a little overkill. I started very simply with Nirvana's greatest hits. I have Nevermind, In Utero, and Unplugged, MTV Unplugged. But I thought this was just a nice pickup. I don't think it's anything, just the black. Yeah, it's just black vinyl. You know, this has all the hits. Sometimes you just want to put something on in the background and hear the hits, right? And then I did the same with the Foo Fighters greatest hits. Nicely packaged. This even, you can feel the rivets on it, so that was, it's really cool. Again, all the hits, the greatest hits, in fact, not just the hits. So that's the Foo Fighters. And then I went after some just major releases from that era. A lot of them have just been recently reissued. This is Throwing Copper by Live. Just the artwork on this was amazing, wasn't it, back in the day? Again, a nice gatefold. So these reissues have been done very, very well. Just black vinyl. Other than these paper sleeves, which I'll be swapping out. I Alone, you might have remembered that song. And then we have the STP, the Stone Temple Pilots. This was my favorite of their albums. This is cool because it's on like a Retro Atlantic label, which is kind of cool. And, you know, this has so many good songs. Vaseline, Loungefly, Interstate Love Song, Still Remains. Silver Gun Superman, Unglued. Just a great, great album. Again, with the paper innards. But otherwise, although this one's not as fancy, it does have the original insert on there with the handwritten, so-called handwritten lyrics. And then back to Pearl Jam. This was Go, the second album. Again, nicely done with the gatefold. Go, Animal, Daughter, Rear View Mirror. Very, very nice. That was always a very cool cover as well with the sheep. Pearl Jam. And then this was a really, really well done reissue as well. This is Smashing Pumpkins. This is the Siamese Dream. This has kind of got an alternative shiny cover with a lovely gatefold. It's almost like a tinfoil. Now this one had plastic lined sleeves, but just on regular black vinyl. This has Today, Disarm, Cherub Rock were the big songs, but it really was just an influential album overall, wasn't it? That's not going to go in. So yeah, this huge expansion of grunge in my collection. I mean, I've always really liked. I've got some Soundgarden. I've got quite a few of the other Pearl Jams, Nirvana, as I mentioned. I've got some tapes, actually, some cassette tapes, because that's what you listened to back in the day, right? And then the next couple are recent finds, used vinyl. The first one is Iggy Pop, Party. This is a German pressing. Look at that mullet. On Arista. Kind of a neat label, actually. And this was his, I think his 5th album. I think it came out in, I think around 81. Yeah, 1981. Not a highly regarded album. Starts off strong. Pleasure is the first song. And then it's kind of a bit like this. Pumpin' for Jill, that opens side 2, is a good song. And then, weirdly, at the end, he throws in Sea of Love. Yes, the Sea of Love that Robert Plant and the Honey Drippers, remember that, did. And I think Tom Waits does it. And then Time Won't Let Me, which was the old song, another old song by the Outsiders. I think the Plimsolls did a cover of it as well. So yeah, I mean, just to fill the Iggy Pop discography. And it's something I wouldn't normally buy, but I've heard good things about this album. It's still in their more experimental stage. And I saw it and thought, yeah, I'm going to give this a go. This is Uriah Heep. Look at Yourself. Sort of had this mirrored, just to blind everyone in there, to be like a mirror. You could look at yourself. Unfortunately, I got a little bit of cover wear here, but you know, this is definitely much more experimental. A lot of people think this is their best album. This is on where am I? The Mercury label, and yeah, it's just some good old-fashioned hard rock, 70s hard rock. I don't know when this came out. Let's see, 71. Recorded at Lansdowne Studios, London, 1971. And yeah, again, I know the name Uriah Heep. They had some bad songs going into the 80s, I remember, but this is very good. This is really decent. Uriah Heep, Look at Yourself. And then continuing with the Kate Bush collection, I'm really starting to fill in her discography now. This is Never Forever. This came out in 1980. This is a Canadian original gatefold. It's on kind of a cool label. Yeah, Kate Bush, Never Forever. This is Babushka, Blow Away, All We Ever Look For, Egypt. And this, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's her best-selling album. I think I read that. I was doing a bit of looking up on the interweb. And yeah, Kate Bush. Great artwork. Never Forever. And lastly, something I've been looking for. It's got a bit of ring wear, which is a little unfortunate. But this is Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel. You can see it's just got a little bit of wear. This was his second and last solo album, although there were some lost things put out after. This is on Reprise, the Steamboat. This is a UK version, by the way. The vinyl's in really good shape. Vinyl's perfect. Covers a bit of ring wear. And of course, this is Graham Parsons from The Byrds and Flying Burrito Brothers. Sort of that, I guess you could say it's sort of the grandfather of country alt rock. This, interestingly, you can see on the back it says with Emmylou Harris. And I guess the originals had Graham Parsons and Emmylou Harris on the front cover. And when Graham died, his wife at the time changed it. I guess she had a little jealousy about Emmylou and put her name on the back. And Linda Ronstadt also sings back up on In My Hour of Darkness. So yeah, that was definitely a good find. Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel. Yeah, so that's all I got for you. Just wanted to do a little update. I want to try and stay regular as I can with the videos. And best out to everybody. Peace, everyone. Happy New Year.